Most dogs will devour anything and everything without a moment's hesitation. So it can become quite concerning when your dog does not show any interest in his food, turns his nose up and walks away. So in this video, I will be discussing some of the most common and some of the lesser known reasons why your dog is not eating, and I will also be giving you some tips on how to get his appetite back and when it is something more serious that requires veterinary attention. Now, it is important to first determine the cause of your dog's inappetence in order to determine the best treatment plan. Possible causes can include: number 1, illness. A decrease in appetite in dogs is often a sign of sickness, especially if there's some concurrent symptoms such as vomiting, diarrhea, and lethargy. Now, a decrease in appetite does not necessarily indicate some serious disease, but prompt veterinary attention is important as it could be a sign of some serious underlying illness such as a foreign body, a systemic infection, pain, cancer, liver problems, and kidney failure. Number 2, dental disease. Some dogs may refuse to eat simply because there's something in the mouth causing pain and discomfort. So have your dog checked out to see if there's any severe gingivitis, a broken or loose tooth, a foreign object causing pain and discomfort, or even an oral tumor. Number 3, recent medication. Some meds and vaccinations can have some mild side effects, such as a decrease in appetite, but these are usually only brief and of minor concern. Number 4, travel and unfamiliar surroundings. Now, some dogs may get motion sickness and can become a bit nervous and uncomfortable in new places, and this can cause them to refuse to eat due to stress induced by travel and when put in unfamiliar surroundings. Number 5, pickiness. Some dogs are just plain picky, and this is often a result of bad habits acquired by their owners. Feeding your dog extra treats during the day that are more tasty and more interesting than the normal dry food can cause a finicky appetite to develop over time. And if this gets out of control, they may develop a life-threatening condition known as obesity. Number 6, behavioral issues. Some dogs may refuse to eat simply because they are put in an uncomfortable situation, such as around an aggressive dog or when fed from an uncomfortable height. Others may refuse to eat simply when you are not at home, and this could be the first sign of separation anxiety. If this is the case, make sure to check out this video where I go into much more detail regarding this condition. And number 7, stale food. This one may seem obvious, but it is always a good idea to check the expiration date on the bag of food and to give the food a good sniff in order to determine if the food is fraught or if it has expired. If that is the case, throw the bag of food out and get a new one. Now, a vet will generally conduct a full medical history on your dog, especially in terms of changes in diet, environment, or routine. Now, it will really help if you have observed any changes in your dog's eating habits in terms of picking up, chewing, and swallowing food. Now, your vet may also conduct various other tests, including a full clinical and dental exam, blood work, urinalysis, x-rays of the chest and abdomen, an ultrasound, a heartworm exam, and endoscopy. Now, because a loss of appetite can indicate some serious underlying illness, it is important to seek veterinary attention if you notice any changes in your dog's eating habits. It is especially important to respond promptly when you notice a refusal to eat in a dog that usually eats very well. So, what can you actually do when your dog stops eating? Now, if your dog's loss of appetite is due to an underlying illness, your vet may recommend a prescription diet to fulfill your dog's nutritional needs while the underlying problem is being addressed. Now, your dog may refuse to eat this diet at first, as it may not be as palatable as to what they are used to, especially if they have been fed treats and people food. Now, never ever starve your pet in order to try and force it to eat the prescribed diet. Rather, discuss alternatives with your veterinarian, such as appetite stimulating medication, syringe feeding a liquid diet, or tube feeding. If your pet is severely anorexic and hasn't eaten for several days, you may need to be hospitalized in order to receive tube feeding or even intravenous feeding, as well as fluid and pain medication. Now, if your dog's decrease in appetite is related to some sort of behavioral problem, such as pickiness or discomfort during mealtime, There are quite a number of things that you can try in order to try and get back their appetite. These include number 1, cutting back on treats. Table scraps and excessive treats only causes weight gain and does not provide any balanced nutrition. Number 2, feeding your dog on a regular schedule, at least twice a day. Your dog may not be interested in his pellets at first, but unless he is a puppy or a diabetic, going a day or 2 without food will not be the end of the world. This will encourage his appetite for his dog food, and after a while he will start to realize that the dog food that he receives is the only food that he will be getting every day. Number 3, pouring some chicken broth over the food to make it more palatable. Number 4, try and make mealtime a fun time with your dog by giving him some food for doing a trick, or by giving him a toy that will dispense food when being played with. Number 5, take your dog for a scheduled walk before feeding time in order for him to start associating the walk with the upcoming mealtime. Number 6, change your dog's feeding situation by feeding him alone if he was previously fed with other pets, or by trying different feeding bowls at different heights to try and see which one he prefers. Number 7, add a tablespoon or 2 of warmed up wet canned food to the dog's dry kibble in order to try and give it a flavor boost. Number 8, add a bit of warm water to the dry kibble to try and make it more appealing and thus a bit easier to eat. Just remember to not keep the leftover wet food in the bowl for too long, as this can be a breeding ground for bacteria. And number 9, try hand feeding, as some social eaters just basically want some attention. Now your dog may be responding to your behavioral cues during mealtime, or he will simply just enjoy the attention given to him for not eating, thereby reinforcing the bad behavior. By keeping feeding time positive, the overall experience will also provide positive reinforcement to your dog. Praise him for eating his food and only give him attention until after the meal is gone. And by applying consistent self-discipline over a long period of time, you should be able to cure your finicky eater. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments if your dog ever stopped eating and what you and your vet did to help get his appetite back on track. And if you found the content to be helpful, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends and your family, and if you're new to my channel, consider subscribing, as I'll be posting new videos on interesting pet related topics every week. As always, have a lucky day, and I'll see you in another video next week. Cheers!